Old Ray has been keeping secrets, and Mint hates when people keep secrets from him. And he's about to find out why in Chapter 3 of Penwondertive. I hate it when people keep things from me. The beginning of the chapter, there is a painting of 3 hemispheres, the blue, the pink, and the yellow. That is the hope sphere, the courage sphere, and the peace and calm hemisphere. Chapter 3. I hate it when people keep things from me. Almost drowning has a way of changing things, just like unexpected news and birthday gifts. Over the next few months, Mint and Old Ray had settled into a more predictable way of life, like the tides that rolled in and out along the coast. Raymond was keen not to take his eyes off Mint when he was near the water, though. Their world was the sea, along with keeping the lamp on, and they took both most seriously. Tell me something, Old Ray. What was your life like when you turned 13? Mint asked, giving him a curious smile. The question made Raymond pause and drift to a time that held wonderful memories for him. Well, I was one of those young boys who was always dreaming with his head in the skies, and quite possibly out to sea. I grew up in a lighthouse, much like this one, and became fascinated by sea life and what made it all work. Even tried to convince my dad that our planet was supposed to be waterborne, and a celestial sea king kept it in a jar on his shelf and took it out every Tuesday to see what we were up to, Old Man replied. But he never fell for that one. Of course you did. Always telling a story larger than life you are. Sounds like that started when you were my age, I guess, Mint said, laughing at Old Ray's imagination. One thing life has taught me, Mint. Never grow so old that you forget to dream, for dreams hold the keys our imaginations need to move the ordinary to spectacular, Old Ray said, smiling. Now that Mint was almost 13, they had developed much more of a friendship than in those first couple of years, and Mint had grown to love Old Ray like a father, even though he was eccentric. Can we listen to that record by that Thelonious guy again? His music makes me feel like he paints with sound sometimes, even though his name is strange, Mint asked. Well, his middle name is Sphere, so you aren't wrong, but a gift for music he has for sure, Raymond answered, heading over to his old Victrola, placing the needle in the grooves. I'm going to pick out a new book today while we listen, if you don't mind. 67 down and 1,000,000 more to go, Mint said, laughing, looking up at all of his options. Mint's first impression of Old Ray's book collection was that they seemed like ordinary books, similar to what he had seen in his old school's upper library. I think books are a little like ice cream, you know, Mint said. How so? Asked Raymond with an eagerness to hear Mint's take about the two. Well, when I was living at the boarding school, we would sometimes get to order a special ice cream from the traveling cart in the neighborhood. They had flavors for just about any taste you could think of. Books are kind of like that. Some have gilded edges and fancy writing that feels special, while others look like they had washed up on shore, all weathered and swollen but written well. Every type of book has a different feeling and purpose, and every flavor, such as chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, or pistachio, means you get to choose. My favorite was always the pistachio because it was green, Mint explained, making Old Ray laugh. Ice cream was hard to come by on the island, but books were plentiful. Mint learned of the world through their pages. Green ones, twice the size of most others, were his favorites, filled with passages of lyrical words about trees. Illustrations, etched in black, showed their remarkable habitats and captivated him. The more he read, the more he sketched, attempting to mimic the drawings for accuracy. Over time, he developed a joy of painting with pictures and words and was becoming quite the young artist and scholar. Your 13th birthday is tomorrow. Are you excited to finally be a teenager? Old Ray asked. Hadn't given it much thought, really, just hoping I get a new watercolor and pencil set again like last year. I'm kind of running out of inks to make my tree drawings in my journal and could use some new ones. I wish my journals worked like yours did, always showing up with a blank one when the last page is pinned. If I didn't know better, I would think there was a journal fairy living in the bookcase, Mint said curiously, and Ray's eyebrow was raised. Teaching him about the oceans and underwater world was serious business for old Ray, and he never missed a day for a lesson. Old Ray's journals, leather-bound and tied together with strings, were brimming with pictures, diagrams, and studies, as well as his take on what made the oceans and sea life so beautiful. Do most 13-year-olds like to draw and read like me? Mint asked. I'm sure there are many who do, but no one sees the world exactly like you do, Mint. Your love of trees, your drawings of animals and diagrams, they all give us an example of what you find curious, and those things make you unique. So even if you meet other kids one day that are similar, always remember that regardless of your age, your version of beautifully different or interesting matters just as much as theirs. It's important, old Ray shared. Mint thumbed through his pages, pausing at a few of his favorite ones as the music flowed through the lighthouse along the breeze. Sometimes he created quirky little creatures that had big eyes and heads shaped like purple leather footballs. Other times he drew skinny humans with stick tree bodies, their swollen heads donning fat hats. Unexpectedly, the record skipped a track, and Mint swore he saw little versions of the football heads flit about and wondered if he was imagining things. Riding the needle, he looked around and once again chalked it up to the heat. The following morning, out of the blue, Mint asked a question that broke Raymond's heart. Old Ray, why do you think my mom sent me away to live with strangers instead of staying with her? He asked. Raymond paused, his gaze on the window, looking like he was searching for a ghost or memory that he couldn't quite grab. Without a word, he stood and headed upstairs, and a few minutes later came down carrying a large object covered in metallic fabric. Placing it ever so carefully on the table, he sat down and began to unwrap it as if it were sea treasure. Since it's your 13th birthday tomorrow, I think you're finally old enough to learn the truth about your mother and a few other things that might not be easy to hear, Raymond said hesitantly. This is Penwondertive, my book of joy, or journal of interesting to be more exact. It's why I begin every single day writing, studying, and observing this part of the world we call home here. Mint looked over and saw the cover that looked like it was an underwater world with glowing, moving parts. There was one larger divot where a large marble could fit, and 3 tiny spheres carved within its center, one pink, one blue, and one yellow. The window light reflected off the pieces that looked like glass, and the book glowed in places as if it held its own light. Turning it on its side, he sounded out, Penwondertive. What does that mean? He asked. You know how I love the seas and everything that relates to them. Penwondertive contains the knowledge and wisdom about Ardithian sea life and systems that have been passed down for generations. It's part of the Penwondertive project that helped create our world here, named after its first steward, one of your distant relatives. Penwondertive means that the stewards chose to embrace the wonder and wisdom about the seas and created a written record for history. Wait, you knew some of my ancestors? That would make you old, you know. And hang on, did you know my mother too, and my dad? Mint asked. Raymond paused again, took a deep breath, and with tear-filled eyes said, Mint, I'm her father, and you're my grandson. Mint's expression was shocked, followed by immediate hurt. His mind began to race. Questions rolled off his tongue faster than he could think, and Raymond made him pause to catch his breath. Why didn't you tell me before? Why'd you wait almost 4 years to tell me? Mint asked. Your mother loves you more than you'll ever know, but she and I had a falling out when you were a baby, and I wasn't allowed to see you beyond that. There are a lot of reasons why I kept that truth from you, events that happened in between it all, and they'll take some time to explain. What I need you to know right now is how much I've loved you since the day you were born. Raymond said. Then why'd she send me away to live with strangers? Why didn't she tell me who my dad was, and why didn't you come for me? Minterton asked as if he had been betrayed. I wanted to, but I didn't know where you were until a few months before you and I reconnected. I also had no legal way to claim you because she severed those ties. I took a job at the school to watch over you until I found my own answers and could help you. Your dad's identity is something she kept to herself, Mint. I'm sorry. The name Pendergrassican is unusual, but she refused to share the truth with me. Why would she do that? And how exactly did she die? Do you know? Nothing was told to me at all except that she was dead, and I was stuck with the fact that she didn't want me, he cried. Raymond placed his hand on Mint's head and brushed back his hair. She loved you more than anything, and to be honest, I'm not sure she actually did die. Mint looked up at Raymond in disbelief. What do you mean? You mean she could still be alive? Where is she? Why wouldn't she have come back for me? I don't understand any of this, he cried. What I'm about to tell you will be confusing and hard to reckon with, but you deserve the truth, Mint. I believe she went to look for your brother. You see, you were born a twin, and his name is Fenton. The room grew quiet, as if a vacuum sucked the sound out of every crack and crevice. There's a lot to explain, but we were in serious danger and had to flee for our lives. As fate would have it, one of you had to be left behind, or we would have all perished. I chose to leave your brother with a friend, one I trusted with my life, but I didn't get a chance to tell your mother until it was done. She would have never left him, and she was wrecked. It's why she cut me off from all contact with you both. I'm thinking she sent you to that school for 2 reasons. 1, to protect you, but 2, to go and find Fenton. The thing about guesses, though, is that they're just that, not true until they are. If you can give me some time, I'm searching for the answers to what happened to her, and I'll share everything with you as soon as I know them. Mint didn't know what to say or how to feel. He not only learned that old Ray was his grandfather, but he also was just told his mom might be alive and that he had a twin brother. He felt as if the world had shifted and his feet no longer held firm. Wiping his face, he took a deep breath and asked, Where's my brother now? Do you know? I've been searching for him, Mint, but no luck yet. I know you're going to want to find him, as I do, but that's more complicated than it seems. I promise we will find him. You have my word. But first, I need to tell you about this book here because it's going to change your world more than you know and more than this news did. How can a book change my world? I know words can. Yours did. But how can a book that's already written make any difference to my future? Well, it's no ordinary book. It's one of the sacred books that together created the energy that made the land of Ardithian possible. What do you mean, the land of Ardithian? The land of Ardithian is the world that you and I come from. It's different from the world you've grown up in and exists side by side with the world that you know. It's like a world hidden within the world. You're Ardithian, Mint, just like me and your mom. The reason our world came to be is complicated and quite sad. That story's meant for another day. But the information and wisdom within these pages are what our kind holds most sacred. Wait, you're telling me that there's a world beyond the one that I know, and it has objects that can shape my future, like change the future based on what you put in that book? This is one of your tall tales, isn't it? And one of your craziest ones so far, Mint asked with a sly smile. It's not a tale, Mint. It's the absolute truth. And yes, the book can change the future, but it isn't that simple. For now, I need you to know that there's a world beyond what you know. Do you recall that weird things that have happened on the island since you arrived? Your mind wasn't playing tricks on you. They actually happened. Your little friend Birdle, it's part bird and part machine. It comes from our world, not this one here. The lighthouse itself is aligned with sea energy. So that blue light that appeared in the cracks, it's good medicine, as some say. Our lighthouse exists in the Fringelands, which is part of the land between both worlds. I know, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. But see, Wondertive is the most important thing to me next to you. It has information you may not understand yet, but I promise I'll show you the pages and teach you all about it. For now, we need to keep it a secret. Will you do that for me? Raymond asked. Mint looked into Old Ray's eyes and realized it wasn't a tall tale, that he was being as serious as he ever had been, and he wasn't sure what to feel. Sure, but why keep it a secret? Asked Mint. Raymond grew quiet, and his gaze again moved toward the window. There are some who seek the Penwondertive book so that they can control the world. One of my closest friends had his book revoked because he chose to write terrible things within the pages that harmed someone I love, and he broke the bond with his book forever. Did Mom know about this book and what it does? Mint asked. Oh, she knew, and I'm pretty sure it was one reason she made the choices concerning you. But I need to get a few more answers about that to be sure, Raymond explained as a boat horn echoed in the distance. The delivery boats are coming, though, so we're going to need to wait until after they've left for me to fill you in on the rest this evening over supper. Remember your promise. Keep it secret. Okay. Who would I tell anyway? All I ever see is you and Bertle, and it sounds like Bertle knows more than I do, he answered back. Bertle has more to share with you than you realize, Raymond said as his whiskers twisted, making his smile look wider than it was. Mint nodded his head, his eyes drifting down to his journal and back up to the window. There sat Bertle, who seemed as if it had listened to every word. Mint picked up his pen and wrote the words at the top of a new page that he felt with every inch of his heart. I hate it when people keep things from me. Chapter 3, Penwondertive.